Hello, and welcome back to Chasing Caspian. My name is Alix, and this is my wonderful cast, all four of us assembled together again. And today we are going to be doing chapter 3 of Chasing Caspian. But before we hop in, I'm going to introduce all of my wonderful cast. We will go starting, as a matter of fact, with Coco.
Hello, I am Coco. I am playing Mwonaji for Aji for short. Um, and you can.
Uh oh. Did
Can
your
you hear me?
Muted
audio cut
yourself.
out?
There you are. No, it was muted.
Can you hear me now?
It's okay.
Because of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Again, hi, I'm Coco. I am playing Mwonaji or Aji for short. You can find me mainly on TikTok on Epiphany Dice. I am one half of Coco Mac Productions, where you can also find us there as well. And we make dice, daggers, wands, and shenanigans if you are following our original characters from Fresh Haven.
Beautiful. And next we have Emrys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emrys. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing the lovely, sweet Hippolyta, um, Miss Lita for short, to friends. You can find me on Blue Sky at the Dragon Empress, or if you're in the trenches, you can find me on Tumblr, um, where I mostly read blog Call of Duty fan fiction.
Wonderful. And next we have Garnet.
Hey y'all, I'm Garnet. I will be playing Morgana Dawn, and really like flowers and plants, and I think there's gonna be some interesting stuff happening. And if we get a chance to perform again tonight, it's going to be very fun.
Wonderful. And last but not least, we have Chauntelle.
Hey, I am Shauntelle B. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Shauntelle B. I am an actor, writer, psychologist, all sorts of things. But tonight, I am Mazarine Wilde, who has eaten a whole lot of luck and doesn't have a tummy ache for now.
Wonderful. And I am Alix. I use they, them pronouns. I am your Mistrex of Ceremonies for tonight. And I am also executive producer here at Batty Bards. And I'm going to lead us in to the next chapter of our wonderful story here. So, previously on Chasing Caspian, the troupe found out that Caspian had come back, or something shaped like Caspian had come back at least. Lady Rosemary pondered candle wax, and Annie named the thing a doppelganger. Mazarine left the burden of bad luck, felt the burden of bad luck lifting from their shoulders after a lovely iced tea. Morgana Dawn Morgana Dawn got a simple messenger bird from someone she left behind an age ago, and Hippolyta had a heart to heart with Tiro. This evening, however, has continued. You guys are still resting at the side of that pool. The messenger bird has gone. Hippolyta, you are alone in your carriage with having been left there by Tiro, who, packed up your things very nicely in your trunk. And Mazarine, you have released the burden or had the burden of this bad luck released from your shoulders. So, with the three of you sort of in your own little worlds at this precise moment, my question turns to the lovely Mwonaji. Where are you in this moment and what are you doing right now?
I have been hungover the entire time. Those
Real?
mushrooms wore me out. Turn me every which way but loose. I have been in the bed, hair disheveled. One of my wings is hanging over my shoulder. Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble? One of my wings is over my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I ain't
Yeah.
heard nothing, ain't felt nothing. I've been out whole time because of the mushroom.
Listen, those mushrooms pack a punch.
I only needed half.
And
I took like 3. I was trying to calm down, man.
so you are in your carriage right now, correct?
Mhm.
So we see Mwonaji, we see Aji sitting in her carriage, looking very much like that black painting
I
that
was
all the
just about to say
aunties
it.
had in their
I
house.
was just
Yeah,
about to
that one
say
with
that.
the
I'm just
yeah,
Monday, Blue.
Blue
Y'all talking
Monday.
about Blue Monday? Yep. Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So very much giving that painting right now, um, and I think at this moment you recognize that the troop has stopped. Everybody is trying to get some food at the chow hut. You hear a bit of a commotion going around. You hear Butterbur and Bitterbalm sort of being the chaotic little gremlins that they are. And this constant noise is common in the menagerie. But what you hear that I think sort of makes your ears prick up is a whistling wind that is coming, that seems to be coming from nowhere, all things considered. But it's this whistling wind in your carriage that sort of makes your wings lift a little and tugs you in a specific direction. How do you proceed?
I react as if like a chill went down my spine and like that's where my wings kind of perk up a little bit and something's off. I can't quite tell which way the pendulum is swinging as far as how it's off, but I know it feels off, right?
Mhm.
So I get up and is it nighttime? Is it daytime? It's morning, right?
It's night. Um yeah, it's closer to nighttime. And it's
Okay.
been nighttime for a while.
Okay. So I step out. No need to adjust or anything like that since it's still very much my preferred time of the day. um, so I step out and I kind of poke my head out. I don't really see anybody, but I still hear all of the sounds that I normally hear as if it's morning, but it's still very much buzzing.
Mm.
Um, so I step out and I head towards this phantom wind.
Okay. So as you're following this wind, just before you break through it's coming from the road, a little ways off the road, and it's just before you break through the trees leading into the Twilight Village. You see, like a stone shrine, like a stone altar, like a slab, and it has like carved um figurines of fey gods, of old ancient fey gods. um and you see people have left offerings, you see people have incense burning, there's like cups of water, there's foliage and greenery, and you see and feel the power coming from this shrine in sparkling purple tendrils. Their offerings here, and the energy of the shrine is where that wind is coming from, and it all but yanks you forward. And you hear the voices of these ancestral fae long since passed in your ears. They're whispering words of affirmation and love, and you hear them say, "Speak, my child." And it's just this chorus of ancients. They say, "Speak, and let us speak through you." What do you do?
So I dig into my bag and
Hmm.
her favorite flower is an orchid. And
Okay.
she likes to carry orchid petals with her. Just kind of like I guess that's her good luck charm.
Hmm.
So she takes one of those petals out and like unrolls it because we're fae, so everything's big. And she unrolls
Hmm.
it and she places one at the altar and then she takes another one out, puts it on the floor, and then like sits on it just to kind
Hmm.
of get that energy, her mojo. And I just have one question. How do I get it back?
Hmm. Now, this is a good question. And I think it's a good idea to, hmm, you could probably draw someone out.
Can
You could either, you tell me how you want to approach this, and we'll go from there.
I would like to draw out, is it malevolent or benevolent? Is it the M or the B, the good one?
The good one is benevolent.
Benevolent. I would
Uh-huh.
like to draw out my most benevolent ancestor.
Okay. By all means, go ahead and roll 2d6 for me.
That is sadly a 1 and a 5. But I get a
Ooh, a
plus 1,
6.
so
So a
7.
7. Okay. So if you're drawing someone out, if I recall correctly, there's a couple of questions that you can ask. But if it's a 7 to 9, I think you can only ask one.
So it says, "Where are you?" But can I say, "Where am I?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the question I would like to ask, where am I forgetting, ignoring, or keeping from myself?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, so here's how this plays out. You you sit down on this orchid petal, and this is how I'm imagining it. You tell me how this hits your ear. You sit down on this orchid petal in front of this stone altar shrine to these ancient ancestral gods, and you try to call forth your most benevolent elder, your most benevolent ancestor, and you hear an answer. You hear um your ancestor sort of speaking through you, speaking to you. And what you get from this ancestor, what you are forgetting. What was the question you said again?
What am I
What
forgetting,
are you forgetting or
ignoring,
ignoring and keeping from
and
yourself?
keeping from myself?
Okay. So your ancestor looks like you. Long pointed ears though, long with age. And they droop a little at the sides. They have a crown of silver cornrows with gold rings flowing through them. And they have beautiful brown skin, chestnut brown. And their face sort of smiles and crinkles, and there's crow's feet and little smile lines and dimples, even as they look at you and they give you a very welcoming smile and they say, "My child, have you forgotten?" And they're going to reach forward for you and touch the where do you keep your cards in your are they on your person always or are
Mm,
they in your carriage?
So my cards change every morning. It's almost like a mystery mouse tool. I never know
Mhm.
what deck is going to appear in my
Mm.
satchel, but it's going to be the deck
Mhm.
that I need that day.
Right.
So I
Got
keep it
it.
on my right hip.
You keep it on your right hip. So you see your ancestor reaches forward with a soft and strong hand, and you feel them pat at that satchel at your hip, and it feels about as tangible as wind, but you feel a sort of pressure there. And they look to you and say, "Try and trust."
I'm sorry, that hit Coco. That didn't just hit Aji. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So I pull out my deck and it's actually a fairy deck.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so I'm gonna try and I'm going to trust.
Okay. And you can make this roll because is this you throwing the bones?
Mhm.
Okay. You can make this roll with advantage. So roll 3d6 and take the two highest.
Okay.
With your ancestors' help, you have advantage.
And I have +2.
Oh, beautiful.
Hey, that is gonna be a 6 and a 5 +2, so 13.
Beautiful. Lucky number 13. We love to see it. Okay. So you tell me what card you pull, and I'll tell you what happens next.
Okay.
Oh, and also you get to throw the bones, right? Yeah, let me look at that move. Because I think there's something else that happens with that.
So I got a celebration card. Sorry, I know the light is like.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous and very apropos. Give me one moment here. Let me scroll on through.
It says, "Get ready to let your hair down and celebrate. It's time to go out to dance and play. An invitation could be on the way."
Oh, interesting. Okay. And hold on, when you throw the bones, you can ask me any 3 questions and I have to answer you honestly as well.
Oh, 3 questions.
So, yes, when you throw the bones on any hit, you get to ask me questions and I have to tell you the truth. But if you get a 10 plus, you get to ask 3. So, when you pull that celebration card, um that is hmm, your ancestor gives you a very wide smile with perfectly sharp teeth. And it sounds like it would be disturbing, but it's honestly quite welcoming, this smile. And your ancestor looks at you and says, "There we are. You've forgotten nothing, my dear." So you can now ask your ancestor or me 3 questions and they will answer you honestly.
Ooh, such power. Um, will I be able to save my friend?
That's a good question. Your ancestor looks at you, becomes a little somber, then nods and says, "Not without struggle, but yes."
Um, is my sister okay on that side with you?
Your ancestor gives you that welcoming smile again. Now you tell me, what is one thing that your sister loved more than anything else? Like an item.
Um, she loved ladybugs.
Ladybugs. Cute. Okay. So you see your ancestor when you ask, "Is your sister all right on that side with them?" Your ancestor holds out a hand and you see a ladybug land in their palm and then materialize in front of you and land on your nose. It feels like a kiss. And your ancestor nods, says, "Yes, she is with us."
And like you see her eyes get glassy, but like she a thug, so the tear don't come down, you know?
Real.
She's absolutely not a thug, but she holds back the tear.
Yeah.
Um, and she kinda looks to the ground and, like, plays with her dress. She knows she has one more question, but she kinda lingers just a little long,
Hmm.
because she can tell after this question, that's it.
Yeah.
Um, she takes a real deep sigh. "Am I making you proud?"
Your ancestor looks at you with dark umber brown eyes and smiles in a way that a flower blooms, the way that a tree sways, the way that an ocean moves. And you feel your ancestor put soft hands on your shoulders and they give you a tight squeeze, and you actually feel the pressure of this. And they say to you, "Oh, Aji, you've done nothing but make us proud. Stay the course, my dear."
She just kind of sits in the moment, smiling, just almost as if she starts to sparkle just a little bit more than usual. It's
Mm.
like her energy is kind of radiating out. Um, and she just sits in gratitude, kind of stroking the orchid petal that she's sitting on and just trying to find that confidence again.
Before your ancestor leaves you to your contemplation, you feel that squeeze again, and the sparkle sort of comes from the pressure between their hands and your body. And you feel that whistling wind again, and just as quickly as your ancestor appeared, they have gone. And I will tell you, from henceforth onward, anytime you throw the bones, you get a +1. So that's for free. That comes from the ancestors speaking to you. Um, and you going to this shrine and having that moment. Um, so anytime you throw the bones from henceforth onward, you get that +1. Keep that in mind because I probably will forget because I am an old man.
Got you.
Beautiful. So as the encampment around you finally sort of comes to life again, you come back into the space where the Moonshadow Menagerie has been sitting, and you hear the sounds of this encampment getting up, packing up, closing the chow hut, getting ready to move forward after this long break. Uh, and you see that everybody sort of reconvenes and begins to march forward, and you see them breaking through the trees because you guys weren't too far from the Twilight Village to begin with, and now that you've broken through the trees, you begin to see the outskirts of the Autumn Court. And the outskirts of the Autumn Court, you see trees that are you see trees that have leaves in shades of deep burgundy and fiery vermilion, golden yellow, umber brown. And you see small little red roofed houses with carved pumpkins and gourds just outside their doors. You see piles upon piles of leaves and like leaf angels from like little kids who are enjoying their time outside. And every step you take has an audible crunch. Every movement that you make feels brisker. And you step into autumn, you step into the Twilight Village. So many of the leaves in this area are red and gold, and red and orange and gold. And there's so much gold around y'all that you almost don't notice the little golden hummingbird sitting in the branches of one of the trees. But it notices you, Morgana Dawn, it notices you, and it flies down to you again and sings a soft song to you as the troupe continues forward. And this is a different bird, but same purpose. It's a messenger bird. And it relays another message to you from Hibiscus. And the message reads thus: "Dearest cousin, you have my love always as well, and I don't wish to rely on your love to pull you home, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that your absence has caused me great pain. I understand why you have created distance now, but I thought the reason for your hasty departure was an enmity with me. Now that I know it is not, my heart breaks even further. I cannot force you home, wouldn't even if I could. but I hope you will reconsider soon. How do you proceed?
I'm gonna find some sugar water for the hummingbird, because going between autumn and spring is a long journey, I'm sure, magical or not.
Yes.
Um, and then I will reply with, "We are soon closing our show. When spring, when it is time for spring to come again, I will happily return. However, we can discuss the length of my stay when I see you in person." And once the little
So,
hummingbird is sated and ready to fly off again,
yeah, absolutely. You see the little hummingbird enjoys the little droplets of sugar water that you've provided for them, and they give like a happy little, like a little trill about the situation, and then they flit up and take off, and before you can blink twice, they've gone. They've disappeared into the air around you.
I
And
will say the entire time that we have been moving and traveling, there's still a show to put on. So I've been dropping seeds along the way, for reasons.
yeah, got you. So, speaking of the show, as a matter of fact, as the entirety of the Moonshadow Menagerie moves forward into the Twilight Village, you guys are on the outskirts, but there is a spot that seems to have been reserved for y'all to place down your carriages, to camp, to put up the big top, an area for you guys to put things up and together for you guys to perform. And in that time, you see a few stragglers of the Twilight Village, mostly young fae, like children, sort of looking around and seeing what you guys have going on. There's a couple of squirrels walking around, popping acorns into their mouths, and a few birds, sort of, making their noises in the trees above you. And you guys see that the encampment begins to put up the big top and get things ready for the show tonight. So, do the four of you reconvene? And if so, how do you reconvene?
Where is everybody?
I am in mine and Casper's wagon. I am keeping an eye on not Casper, Casper
Caspian.
2.0.
Caspian 2.0 is so funny.
It's Apple Caspian.
Is everybody in their
About cast.
respective cabin, carriages?
I would be
Okay. So my next move is to go to Morgana, Dawn, and Caspian's carriage,
Okay.
just to kind of see where everyone is, because
hmm.
I don't know that Caspian 2.0 is even in there.
Right.
So I go knock on the carriage door.
Hey, oh, hi. Oh, get in here. And then I just kind of grab you and pull you inside. Where have you been?
Where you been? I didn't. I don't even. I don't even. I'm just focusing on Caspian because I'm like,
Oh,
where you been?
so
Hello?
he's
And
not
I can
gonna
see,
answer
because I can
you.
see the like kind of blankness in his
He's
face.
not. He's not
hmm
gonna answer. He's not gonna answer you. He's not gonna answer you.
What do you mean he not gonna ask? What?
Caspian
Where have you
does
been?
Caspian does look at you in a little bit of confusion, but tries to answer, does that noise again, and then gives you a sort of small smile, but you see the mouth is black, all empty.
So I look at Morgana Dawn. I look back at Caspian 2.0. Who you been messing with now? Why is your mouth? See, I told you to stop running around with all the. What's wrong with him?
This is
Who he
a
messing with
piece.
now?
This is, you know what? That's a good question. We don't have the answer to that yet. This is a piece apart. Uh, 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 this is a puppet of Caspian. Real Caspian is Winter. So we gotta go get him. This guy is just,
Winter.
yeah. I think he got kidnapped. Caspian got kidnapped, and we just gotta go get him. But like, we can't cause a scene because if we cause a scene, then the Autumn Court is gonna freak out,
Why
and
would you tell me any of this if you don't want to see?
because you're in charge. So you need to know these things.
I need another mushroom.
I know. And then I will just produce one. Just hand it to
And she
you.
like breaks it off this time. She don't put the whole thing. She just breaks off a little bit and starts like nibbling on it like nervously.
Got a microdose.
I got a microdose, child. Listen.
Nibbling.
The trip I
Look,
went on last time. Anyway,
look, I'm very good at making these things, but they don't taste good. Why are you nibbling this?
I'm stressed out already. Again, it ain't even morning yet. What do you mean he's been kidnapped? And this
Well, because
ain't
that's
him.
not well, that's not him. This poor little guy's been through a lot. There's a lot of trauma here, so we need to be gentle with him. But that's not Caspian. That's not our Caspian.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. I'm a little scared, if I'm being honest. Ain't nothing in your mouth. I don't know what to do with that. Um, can the baby talk? I don't.
And Caspian
No,
gives you a
every time
sad
he
sort of shake of his head.
Hmm, okay. Does everybody else know?
well, define everyone, because it's not like the whole circus knows. It's just like you now, Mazarine and Hippolyta.
Okay.
And I don't. We didn't tell the twins. The twins ran off with lots of drugs. Um,
That'll do it. That'll do it. Okay.
so
Um.
they're fine. So we don't have to worry about them telling everyone. But I think a couple of other people know because we did have to ask for help on what was going on here.
Okay. Um. How long has this baby been here?
How long have you been on your trip?
Fair. Fair. Because I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. So where are we keeping him for the next show? Because there's no way he's gonna make it on stage.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna stay here. The only issue is that somebody needs to be with him to make sure whoever took Caspian version 1 doesn't try to come back for him because he's telling secrets. So like he needs a guard.
What secrets do we know?
We don't know anything, but like I said, he's been through a lot, and we're trying to make sure he don't get hurt again. Plus, I don't really want him by himself.
That's fair. All right. So
Mhm.
the only person that I could even remotely think of to be anybody's guard is Lady Rosemary.
Yeah, it makes
Uh,
sense.
so does she know?
Think so? I think so. Yeah, yeah. I believe she was one of the people we went to for help. It's been a long night.
Apparently. Uh, okay. So let's get everybody else. Let's get Mazarine and Hippolyta. Let's I get the now.
Uh, I mean, you could stay here with Caspian 2.0, and then I'll go get them.
Baby, Imma
Uh,
be right here. Just don't open your mouth, okay? All I ask is that you do not open your mouth, please.
You see Caspian begin to smile and then like close does like that and does a little locking gesture and
Eh,
then gives you a more closed mouth smile.
Oh, all right. I'll be here. I'll be here. Go get it, please.
then I will run off who to whomever is closer.
I like speak out to the ancestor that I just saw and was like, "You could have warned me. You could have."
You hear in as you say that to your ancestor, you hear like a breathy sort of ha 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 ha, ha, like a chuckle. So for when as Morganadon goes looking between Hippolyta and Mazarine, which one of you does Morganadon find first?
Probably me, because I'm coming out with a horse brush to brush down the foal who doesn't want to stay still but will
Not
stay
at all.
still for this
You see the
purpose.
foal sort of
Mm,
gambling around, doing a little two-step, doing dressage. Yeah, the whole nine.
mm. So that's what I'm wrangling.
Got it.
That's what I'm trying to wrangle.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. Um, so I'm gonna run up, produce an apple, and give it to your foal while you start. Hey, as soon as you finish this, you need to get
Hmm.
to my place. Um,
Yes.
because we need to have a little triage.
Group up.
Yep, yep,
Group up
yep, yep.
time. Okay. Oh, she's up from her.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good to know. Thank you for your help.
You see the foal sort of like munching happily on this apple. Um, do you stay and watch Mazarine brush, or do you go and find Hippolyta?
I'm gonna go find Hippolyta. I don't know
Mhm.
how calm Aji is gonna be by herself.
Okay. I will do this quickly also.
Then I will run off and go find Hippolyta.
Where does Morganadon find you, Hippolyta?
So I am in my carriage uh, when Morgana Dawn arrives. She finds the door is locked. And do you just try to like open the door like you usually do and come in?
Uh, yeah, just because I'm kind of in a hurry, and the thought of like, I have no idea that kind of emotional trauma you've been through last night, so it's just like, oh,
Uh-oh.
gotta. Oh,
So when Morgana Dawn arrives at my carriage, if she tries to kind of make her way inside like we always do, she finds that door is locked, strangely. Um, you hear me call out, "Hello,
uh, oh, Hippolyta.
is
Okay.
someone there?"
Uh, Hi, yeah, it's me. I sort of flit over to one of the windows, like, you good?
I poke my head out. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm good. Is everything
Well,
okay?
Aji has finally emerged from her transition. Um,
Hey,
and yeah, so now she knows about Caspian and is kind of freaking out. Any chill she had is now gone, and we need to figure out what we're gonna do next. So everybody's meeting over
oh
at my place.
no.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. I'm just finishing up. Uh, I will be over there in a second. Have we gotten to have we gotten to court yet?
I
Are
mean,
we there?
Yes.
we're not,
Yeah.
we're there, we're setting up, but like we haven't been
Okay.
greeted yet, like they did in summer where everybody came out and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Um, So, like, we have
Okay.
time to have a conversation, so not to hurry or rush you, but also we gotta get this figured out.
Okay. I'll
And we can always, if, you know, if you want, we can talk about your thing too, we can do all of that, but in my place.
I'll be there in a little bit. I just need to finish something up in here.
Yeah, no, sure, because Mazarine is fighting with her foal anyway, so I'm just gonna get back.
And yeah, and I go to kind of draw the curtain back, but as I go to draw it, I draw it a little too hard, and you notice just a flash of white, like stark white, where you know the back of my head should be before I kind of quickly adjust uh, the curtain and kind of retreat back into my carriage.
Okay. And then just to herself, just, no, we're definitely gonna talk about this because what the we cannot have all these crises all at once. Um, she's like flying away. And then I will go back to the wagon.
Okay. So for Hippolyta, how long does it what are you up to in your carriage as you are preparing to leave?
And just finishing getting dressed anxiously. Um, in my carriage, the trunk is open again. On my bed is the parcel that was wrapped in brown paper and twine, except now it's open. The contents are mostly gone since I've been wearing them. The only thing that's left is a deep forest green cloak that I pick up and I put on. I wrap it around me. I tie it at the neck and I pull the hood up. Um, I glance back into the chest, the mirror still face down. Um, and then I leave my carriage, closing the door behind me, and I walk quickly through the encampment to Morgana and Caspian's carriage, almost furtively. Um, and I kind of knock quickly on the door, and I'll answer as soon as I hear the word.
So the four of you, sorry, Mazarine, uh how long do you stay like brushing your foal?
Not a great deal of time,
Mm.
but I think as I brush the foal, um, some of the feathers that are in the cloak that I wear, this like deep blue cloak, fall out of my cloak and are replaced with black feathers. So
Ooh.
now I am a black raven.
Uh,
Um, and I think as I finish grooming the foal, I feel better and I will head over.
so the four of you have reconvened in Morgana and Caspian's carriage. Um, what would you like to do?
I think when I arrive and I see Aji there, I get so excited. I'm like, Aji, maybe a little too loud, and just kind of throw my arms around her. How was your trip? And give her a little like shake. Um,
So I look at her and I'm like, I don't know if I'm off of it. Cause what the fuck is this?
yeah, a lot of things like happened while you were away. Did you see what the?
He gotta keep his mouth shut around me, child. I can't.
I can't do it. I can't. It's and I kind of look because I don't want him to overhear. I don't want to hurt his feelings. Like he's such a sweet little thing. So I'm like, it's I'll just I just keep my eyes. If you just keep your eyes like a little bit up, kind of don't see it. And it's great because he doesn't talk, so he doesn't really need to with the mouth unless you like make him smile. So just don't do that, and we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay.
Uh,
But I want to know whoever made him because what's wrong with them? Why they ain't make him with no mouth?
for one, can we clock that? Cause did you run out of materials? I don't understand.
It's very much it's giving disturbed or like
Did you not have
this was
enough chess
not a
bits to pay for the rest of the materials? That's all.
exactly very not fully thought out plan is what it's giving one of those two things. So I need to have a bone to pick with them because why would you make this delicate little thing and one he can't talk and then you don't give him no mouth on top of it so he can like
It's rude, honestly.
very rude, very rude. And then they treat him bad. Did Morgana Dawn tell you that they treat him bad? He was all
Well,
like beat up and stuff.
see, there was talk of trauma, but there was no details. It beat up.
So when we were like walking, because I was suspicious, right? Because I was like, you're Caspian, wait, you're not Caspian, like, is Caspian possessed? And then when he was getting into the carriage, he was like dripping some stuff and it like sizzled when it hit the ground. So, I was immediately like, wait a minute. So I scooped it up, took it over to Lady Rosemary. Well, with a spoon. I got a spoon. I didn't touch it. And
I was
I
gonna
took it over to Lady Rosemary. And then first she was like, I've never seen anything like this before. So, and then she was like, wait a minute, this is what? And then her and Whimsy started, doing their little scientific stuff that they do. So I just left it with them and I came back here. But yeah, his leg was all like messed up and stuff.
let's rewind a second. You said wax?
Yeah, we think he's made out of wax. At least some part of him. Things that we know. He doesn't talk. Uh, he doesn't eat. I don't. Well, Dawn will know if he sleeps or not. Uh, somebody made him to look like Caspian. He said the person who made him didn't is not the person who hurt him, and he has seen our Caspian wherever he was at. But because he can't read, I mean, he can't speak and he can't write, all he can do is kind of point in the direction we're going. So that's why we feel like with him pointing and then your vision about the melting and the ice smell that Maz had, we're figuring that maybe Caspian's at the winter court and that's where we have to go get it. But we're trying to keep it on the hush because they don't want to upset the autumn court people. But personally, I was like, we could just skip the autumn court because I don't feel no way about
You
skipping it.
you you
Like
would.
I'm cool.
You would want to skip it.
I'm cool with skipping it.
You
But
would.
they were like, no, we can't skip it
You
because they're
know we
going to be
can't.
insulted. And so I volunteered to go ahead. I was like, I can just go ahead to the winter court. And they were like, but then two of y'all going to be kidnapped. And I was like, yeah, you might have a point. So here we are.
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah.
So that's why they were like, I can't go.
No,
So
nah. Did we gonna rewind because we gonna skip over all of that nonsense. Okay, because you tried it. Um, he's a candle that somebody made, can't
so look,
talk, but still sentient.
still sentient.
So
That has feeling.
immediately, Aji is like, this some ritual stuff. Somebody is casting a ritual. Somebody is attempting to channel something through this Muppet.
Mhm.
And so she's kind of like explaining this to everybody. Like, we need to figure out who's conjuring this wax figure and what the rest of the ritual entails.
Whoever did it, uh, I think they love Caspian, or there's a sense of love around it. I don't know whether it's why they did it or some part of it, but there is love in Doppel Caspian.
Can
There is love in
I
the creation.
what would be the play to see if there is something on Caspian 2.0's body?
You mean like an aura or like something physical?
Something physical.
Something physical. Let's take a look. You can, well, you have a few options. You can try to draw them out, you can confront them, size them up, sniff the
Size them up.
wind, use your trappings. You definitely have some options here.
I think size them up is what I would like to do.
Beautiful.
What is my modifier? +2. I like it. All right. So that will
Nice.
be 2d6.
Yes, please.
Okay. Ooh, a 5 and a 3 plus 2 is 10.
10. Beautiful. So with a 10, you can ask two of those four questions.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me pull that back up. I was trying to see if he had something specific on him or he was made out of something specific. Oh no, none of these questions work.
Oh, I see. Uh,
Can I tell you what I'd like to do?
yeah, please do.
I want to see if there is any obsidian, black tourmaline, any hematite, any black crystal on him. He's made of it, anything like that.
I see. Okay. So you're literally looking for a physical thing.
I'm
Okay.
trying to see what he's made of, which will help
He
me understand intent.
got it. So he is made of candle wax. When you look and like, how would you go about examining Caspian?
Um, so just with my knowledge of candle making and stuff like that, it's very
Hmm.
common for there to be crystals at the bottom or crystals at the top. Never really in the middle of it, but like it's very possible for them to be laid on the outside for decoration.
Got
So
it.
like would it be in his hair? Would it be something on his feet? Something in his clothes?
Honestly and truly, nothing solid per se is there. What you find is straight up candle wax. And the more you sort of manipulate his body to try and see whether or not they have hematite or tourmaline or obsidian or something on them to sort of like justify their existence, for want of a better phrase, the more you sort of manipulate their body, you can see that they are beginning to sort of sag into themselves, not necessarily on purpose, but as though a candle is being handled a lot and beginning to melt.
Shit. Um, so I can feel my fingers getting a little waxy, so
Hmm.
I hurry up and like
Yes.
stop touching him. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You okay? Are you okay?
Caspian nods.
Okay. Um, it is I look to everybody else. It is very hard to know the intent behind this sweet baby because there are no herbs, there are no crystals, there is nothing indicating intent. It's just pure wax and color.
Is that usual?
No, there's usually some type of intent behind the Muppet being made.
Hmm.
So in this moment, I think, Hippolyta, I am deep in thought because I'm thinking about what does it mean to love someone, or what does it mean to have a simulacrum of loving someone, and what someone might do if they had the opportunity to exchange the simulacrum for the real thing. And so I would look at Caspian, and I remember him saying, that the person who made him didn't hurt him. And then we have this understanding that he was made with love, and I'm just like racking my mind, and I'm like, I look at him and I go, oh my God, did they throw you away
You see
when they got the real Caspian?
you see Caspian sort of now they sag into themselves on purpose. And you see again that little bubblegum pink tear nods minutely just once.
God, you guys. So they got the chance to kidnap our Caspian. And so they just tossed Caspian aside like trash.
Okay, so
That's
what I'm
probably why
hearing,
we found him wandering in the camp, because did you come here because you know that we love Caspian?
Nods again.
And I think anyone who's looking will just see the most heartbroken expression on my face. And then it suddenly hardens into like a very intense resolve. Whoever did this is gonna pay twice.
And that is where we're going to take our break. So we will be back in 15 minutes after we're done being human beings, and we'll play some more then. Hey, howdy, hi, y'all. Welcome back to Chasing Caspian. We are back from being human beings, and we are going to jump right back into our story. Last we left off, our four beautiful fairies have convened to sort of come up with a plan for Caspian. As we return to the Moonshadow Menagerie, we see the big top going up and everything being set up, the ticket booth being set up, and people are beginning to filter into the seats, trying to make their way inside to grab snacks, grab concessions, and get ready for the big show. So I ask the four of you, where does the beginning of your autumn court show find you?
Well, for me, I have decided that I'm going to stay behind with the Doppelgastian, um, and watch over him with Lady Rosemary. And also, you know, I'm just not ready to to do this thing quite yet. So if anyone is looking for me, they won't find me in the usual places where I would be at the start of a show.
Mm.
They would find me in the carriage with Doppel Caspian and Lady Rosemary.
So Lady Rosemary, she stays for a moment. Um and then like she gives you a nice pat on the shoulder and says, "You stay here, darling." And she goes to the front to like do her security bit because that's her job and she wants to make sure that everything is secure. Um and she does say, "Oh, I'll be right back. Don't I won't be too long." And she goes to handle the security bit for a moment. Where does the beginning of the show find the rest of you?
Mazarine is making tea.
Hmm.
Um, a hot tea this time. Um, primarily ginger with some honey,
Sounds good.
and is just preparing that for the show.
Okay.
Um, but I think that noticing that Hippolyta's not doing the stuff that she usually does before a show, I will go look for her.
Mm.
Um, and eventually find her with Double Caspian.
Mhm.
I am back at my carriage just for a
Mhm.
moment, trying to take in everything that's happened between my ancestors, between Caspian 2.0, and trying to make sense of the fact that nothing was inside of that sweet baby except for candle wax. Like it just doesn't make sense to Aji that there were no herbs, there was no hair, there was literally nothing but wax, and they were able to make the doppelganger. Um, she's trying to wrap her head around that, not really focusing on the show, even though she should be. That is kind of like consuming her thoughts right now because it just doesn't make sense.
Mm. And what about you, Morgana Dawn?
Morgana Dawn is once again on top of the big top, but this time it is not Ivy, but amongst all of the bright red and gold of this village, there are wisteria trees that have been popping up kind of everywhere. And these long, beautiful flowers that smell really good are a trap. They're a trap. So these long, beautiful branches are in fact ensnaring people, and it's even scarier than the last time because they are now dragging them underground and bringing them to the circus.
Yes, that is terrifying. Um, so as the show begins, I ask Aji actually, because you are a ringmaster. How do you open the show?
So it's very similar to the last time.
Mm.
Um, However, because of where her mind is, it's not
Mhm.
100% this time. So, like, there might be 8 to 10% of the people who are like, "That's not really my color." I mean, it's close, but it's not okay. I was thinking of orange. That looked more red, but okay, girl, I guess. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not quite, "Oh my god," like it was last time. It's very much like, "Yay? Okay,
Yeah.
what else is coming?" That it kinda lackluster is the word I'm looking for.
Got you. Got you. And as you begin to open the show in this distracted state, you do see sort of sitting in the grandstand area right in the center where the Dawnbringer sat the first time, you
Mhm.
see someone else. You see someone who looks strikingly like Hippolyta. Different hair, same like blondish hair, same dark umber eyes, same puckered little lips, same slender frame, but different aesthetic. Carrying like a little red parasol that's shaped like maple leaves on the outside of it. Uh, and when they sit down, you see them and their retinue sort of sitting, and they sort of settle in for a good show. And you see this person's like right hand person, like a valet. You see them sort of lean over and whisper to the valet, um, as they notice Hippolyta's assistant wandering through the crowd collecting coins.
So she's already distracted. And
Hmm.
then she hones in on this and see his name's Toro, right?
Tiro.
Toro.
Tiro.
Tiro. And so
Hmm.
she sees Tiro and she darts back at this person and then Tiro and so like she all of this is happening while she's in the air showing people colors. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so she kind of like wraps it up as quickly as possible, takes her bow, and then like, can you sprint fly? Like whatever that is,
Yeah,
out of the
like you book it.
gone to go to Lida and tell her exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Before that happened,
Mm,
slightly before the show started, can I have a quick word with Hippolyta?
please.
I think when I hear the knock, I freeze for a moment as it's like panic grips me, and I say, "Hello,
It's me.
it's open. Come in.
Um,
We're just hanging out."
I I will go in. You're not performing tonight?
"Mm, no, I don't. I don't think I can. I don't. I don't know if I'm ready for.
Why
I don't know
not?
if I'm ready to see my family in that place. If it were you, how would you feel about seeing the loved one who abandoned you for almost a century performing with the people that she abandoned you for?
I would want to see them happy. I would want to see why they left. And I would hope that they would show me all the joy of the reason that they left. And if not that, then I would just want to see them. You don't have to look at them. You don't have to talk to them. But if there is even the slightest chance that they want to see you,
I
what are
know they
you if
want.
not observed?
That's just it. I know they want to see me. I can feel them. When we were kids, we could always just feel each other. We always knew, you know, I could always tell when they needed me to be wherever they were, or I would think, I really need Tony right now. And then I would turn around and they were already there. like, hey, did you need something? So I can feel that they want to see me.
Then why are you ignoring them? Do you not want to see them?
I see them so badly.
Then come on.
I am terrified of what will happen when they see me. I
To you
never
or to them?
both. I never really told everyone what happened when I left home. Was the things that I did when I told everyone that I left home because my engagement was broken, right? That the person that I was in love with left me for my sibling, and I ran away from home. But what I didn't say is what I did when I saw what I saw. I was so angry, so devastated, so furious, and just I was angry at Tony in a way that I have never been angry at them ever in our lives. The thoughts that I had were so black, so vicious that I didn't know what I'd done until after I'd already gone. But I have a mirror in my things, and sometimes it shows me things that are coming, and sometimes it shows me things that have already happened. And after the anger passed, I wanted to just get a sense of, like what the vibe was, right? Like, what was I going back to apologize for freaking out like that, right? Because even though I was angry, I was angry. And I
Mhm.
looked and it showed me, I I looked into the mirror and I saw jet black raven. I knew in my heart that that was Tony. I had done that to them and I didn't know how to undo it. And I was scared. So I ran and I kept running. And the last thing I want to do is walk out there and see my mom or my dad with a jet black raven sitting on their shoulder and know that I did this thing that no one can undo and that I have lost them forever.
That is hard. That's a lot. It's a whole lot. But you said you can feel that they want to see you. And you can feel the emotions that they have around that. Can they feel what you feel? Does it work
Like,
both ways?
I don't even know if it works anymore.
But I mean, at the time, if they could feel that you were afraid and that you felt ashamed, maybe they know that you didn't mean for it to go that far. Maybe you're just hiding because you think you should, not because you need to.
But shouldn't I? I turned my best friend into I turned my best friend into a bird, and I don't know how to change them back. Like
Take it from
the
me. It's
other,
not that bad being a bird.
well, you turn into a bird when you want to,
Mhm.
and you can change back.
Maybe it would be easier to figure out how to change them back if you were closer to them.
I just, I know I've had a century to think about all of the different things that I could say and all of the different ways that it could play out. And I am,
Lita, it has been a century of trying to figure it out and a century of not trying to do the thing.
I'm a chicken, okay? I'm a coward, right? I get up there on the tightrope every night and I do backflips with flaming swords, but deep down, I am a
Mhm.
fucking chicken, okay? And there is nothing more terrifying to me in the world than knowing with absolute certainty that my best friend is gone forever, or worse, they hate me for what
How
I've
do you
done.
know?
I
How do
don't,
you know without talking to them about it?
I don't know. But as long as I'm here and they're there,
There can be no
I can,
resolution,
and I can always believe that they're okay,
but you
that
always believe that you
someone's
can't
figured
fix
it
it
out,
too.
right? I can always just pretend or tell myself someone's going to figure it out, right? Or maybe they'll just change back, or maybe they already did, and
Mhm.
I don't even know it. And but I just
So you just want to go on not knowing? Is that what you want? To keep going on not knowing and just feeling all messed up?
there's just something in me that tells me that that's easier than knowing for sure that I'm wrong,
Is
that
it?
everything that I hope can't happen has never happened, that they're stuck like that, and that my whole family hates me because
That is a strange way to be cowardly.
don't I know it?
Uh-huh.
I have, Tony was always the one that was good at figuring things out, and I just followed after them. I didn't have anything that was mine, really mine. I had things that were mine, but things that I really felt deeply, besides the love that I had for them and the love that I had for Rowan. And when those two things collided like that, I didn't have anything.
Do you still have
And I don't
nothing?
want to, I can pretend that I do have something, that this is just for play. One day I'll go home and everything will be fine. But I'm also terrified that I'll go home and everything won't be fine. And there'll be no more pretend. And there'll
You
be no
want to be
more
here?
telling myself
Later,
that Tony's there and they're fine and they still love me, that it'll just be, of course,
Later, do
I
you
love
want to be
you
with the
guys.
circus? Prove it.
Of course. I love you all so much.
Prove it. We need you.
At first, at, and I kind of paused for a second there. That was really low. You didn't have to. You don't have to do me like that. That was a low blow.
Look, sometimes I have to go. Hopefully, I will see your flaming swords tonight. And I leave.
Beautifully done. So,
And I look at the Caspian, and I know he can't talk, but he can understand.
mhm.
Just like, what do I do?
You see Caspian gives you one of those closed mouth smiles, holding on to Aji's request, and reaches out a waxy hand to you. Do you take Caspian's hand?
Yeah, I do. I reach out and I just gently take their hand, remembering what Aji said about them being melty.
You see Caspian take your hand in both of theirs, and they give it a firm squeeze, and then they jerk their chin out towards the big top and look at you as if to say, go.
I, for someone who can't talk, you're very convincing. I I can't just leave you here, Uh, part of
Yes.
this was me hiding, but also like,
Yes.
Aji kind of like burst in there on that note.
Yes.
yeah. And as Aji burst in, I was like, part of this was me just hiding, but also like, I can't just leave you here. Anything could happen to you. You're just a little guy. So
Uh,
you're coming with me. And I like take his little wax hand a little bit more deadly in mine. And I turn like determinedly and like come face to face with Aji, I guess.
oh, you people out there.
I immediately just deflate. What do you mean?
So tall lady look just like you. Saltira.
Lady?
It was her mother, right?
No, it's
You sure? You sure it was the
Antony.
lady?
It's what?
It's their sibling.
You sure? You're sure the person you saw? You're sure the person you saw was a lady?
Okay, above board. Should it be? I don't want to say it wrong.
No, they're they them.
Okay, sorry. Um, I can't say for sure, but they look fabulous and they look like you.
Okay, that could be mom, but it could be them too. Honestly, it could also be dad. Uh,
They
and you
technically
see
reported themselves.
you see me just, you fully see me blue screen in this moment, like blue screen,
You just
frozen
see
in place,
thought
like
bubbles like anime above your head.
literally like sweat. Mind you, I'm still wrapped up in this green cloak, hood up, so I'm literally just like standing there in the middle of the room, just like stuck on frozen. And I look back down at the Caspian, and I'm like, I still have to do this, right?
And Caspian gives you a nod and jerks their chin out towards the big top again.
You going out there?
I have to. Maz, Maz, Maz told me about myself, and you know how they do that so well.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. You don't have to
then
now.
low key, they told me about myself too, and I like gesture at the Caspian. So I'm like, I feel like
Not they hit
I
you with
can't
one
get
too
read by
much.
one. I can't get read by one more person tonight. So,
Well, then I'ma shut up and I'ma do this. And I reach into my other little pack because I'm a fairy, so of course I got fairy dust, and I like throw it at her, and it kind of almost equivalent to like bardic inspiration, and I just like.
Yeah.
Problem is, I don't have any decorum when I throw fairy dust at people, so it's very much like, you know,
I'm like, I
you're fine,
usually like just a puff of like
you're fine,
dust
you're fine,
coming out from underneath the hood. I like whip the hood back. I'm like, girl.
you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. I
And you
promise.
see as I throw back the hood and I'm like flailing this fairy dust out of my face that my hair is gone stark white and it's in these uh long uh kind of soft like Senegalese twist chunky Marley style elaborate like braiding in the front and then just down my back. Um
Yes.
and I'm like, can you just try to aim better with the fairy dust?
I'm just like, hold on, okay, this was a choice. Hold on.
Well, actually, it wasn't. It kind of just did this. Uh, that happens sometimes when I was a kid. Stuff like with my hair would just do a different thing sometimes. Sometimes it's like this, and that usually means, well, the last time it did this, it wasn't good. So, hence the hiding. But I guess I gotta go out there. You done sprinkled all the fairy dust in Fatum all over me.
Love you.
So but I'm not gonna leave without the Caspian. So they're coming with me. Has any Buckeye does done her thing yet?
Uh, uh, Lady Rosemary's almost done. Um, and you are up. You got like one more person in front of you before you're up. However, don't think it's a good idea that Caspian 2.0 leave.
Well, I didn't want to leave him here. So if Rosemary is gonna come back,
That's
I
when
don't
you
go back
hear
out
a
until
knock
then.
on the door.
Oh,
maybe
that might
that's
be.
You
it.
hear a knock
And
on the
I
door.
like quickly put the hood back up before going to open the door.
It's Lady Rosemary, and you see she's got like glitter in her beard, and Whimsy is like sitting on her shoulder, and they move in a as a unit. So Lady Rosemary comes in, and she goes, "Whoo, it's a little brisk out there. I suppose that's autumn for you.
Yeah, that's autumn for you.
You all right, baby?"
Well, no, but you know what? It's it's gonna be all right. I hope.
You need some of
And
this?
I no, please, please, for the love of Titania, please keep your dust to yourself.
See, I just be trying
And
to help y'all out. It's fine. It's fine. I'll keep my dust. I'll keep it.
when you learn how to disperse it in a more like manner, then we can talk. But for now, I'm
Do it
gonna
work?
go one, blow the fairy dust out of my nose, and then two, I'm gonna go prepare for my
Okay.
act. Thank you. And when you see Maz, tell them I said thank you. And I look at the gospel Caspian and I say thank you also.
Caspian gives your
And I
hand a little
go,
squeeze and goes and lets you go.
I walk out, put my hood's back up, I pull my cloak just a little bit tighter around me, and I just furtively make my way to one of the back entrances of the big top.
So, as this is happening, as you're preparing for your act, Morgana Dawn, how are you approaching the big top? How are you approaching your act?
So last time I came down from the ceiling. This time I am growing myself up out of the ground
Ooh.
in a Venus flytrap.
Ooh.
Um, so it's very akin to Aphrodite and the clamshell, but much creepier because there's teeth and acid. Um,
Fuck yeah.
and it's just sort of and more clothes, much more clothes because it's cold.
Real.
And just sort of standing there in this giant Venus flytrap, there is now a sword at her hilt. Um, and instead of the big spinning wheel, because we don't do repeats twice in a row, so
Mm.
Autumn is getting something else. Um, there is a sword at her hilt, and there are um like bows and arrows as well, and targets. And she is going to place endangered species, like living flowers that have like cute little faces, and they're just sort of like mounted on the targets.
Mhm.
And she is going to shoot arrows at these flowers,
Oh.
um with the intent of hitting the bullseye without hitting the flowers.
Oh, hell yes. Okay, that's dope.
So the danger is not for her this time, it is from her.
Got it. That's cool. So, hmm. Let me see. Is this right? Yeah. Did you want to you can totally do this, you can totally not. Did you want to twine danger around them to sort because
Yes.
there are a few options
However,
here.
I was saving that for the last one because there is
Got
a
it.
target over there on the end. So after all these cute little like semi-sentient flowers have been just scared right out of their pots, there is one final target where at this point I am going to spread my arms wide and call out to the crowd. I would love a volunteer.
Ooh. You know what? The person who gets up to volunteer is the person in the front row who looks a lot like Hippolyta. They they stand and raise an elegant hand in the air. I'd like to volunteer.
And there is a very deep bow in respect to our honored guests. Um and then I will reach out my hand and walk them to the target, which I will, raise accordingly. Now, the trick to this is you being very, very still. Because once I loose the arrow, if you move, I'll hit something.
You see that the hearth tender gives you a warm smile and says, I trust you, and leans back on this target. And as much as they said they trust you, they go just as rigid as possible. Stock still. So if you'd like to twine danger around them, go ahead and roll 2d6 for me and let me know your number.
Okie. Let's see. Uh, where is my sheet? Oh, okay, good. That is an 8.
An 8? Beautiful. Beautifully done. Okay, you get to choose one of those three.
You make yourself in some measure dangerous. Okay. The last one looks like it would make the most sense. Actually, no. You arrest danger here with you. It can't get past you. That means they have to stay here with me until I feel like leaving, which I probably won't do until after my friend Lottie gets here.
Very fair. Okay. So you see that the hearth tender, loose the arrow, it hits everywhere but where the hearth tender is resting, and you see their eyes go wide in surprise and their mouth curls up in a smile of wonder. And as they try to move, you see that they have almost this compulsion to move, to sort of like orbit you, to gravitate toward where you are. So this is the hearth tender. You have seen you've seen them come like once or twice in recent cycles past, like, but this is your first time actually seeing them up close, and they look strikingly like Hippolyta.
Yeah, so me trying to keep my cool because, like, that's the only way this whole thing is gonna work. Inside, it's just like, "This looks a lot like my friend, so you just gonna stay here. She get here, we're gonna figure this out, cause I need to know why her hair is white. It was not like that when I left her last night."
Real. Okay, and so as you do this, you see that as you were loosing the arrows to the endangered species, like the crowd was like, "Ooh, ah," like making this huge fuss. But once the
Mhm.
hearth tinder got put on the target, the entire big top went stock still. Full tilt quiet. You could hear a pin drop. You could hear a worm cough. It was that quiet. And the moment that the hearth tender stands up and is fully like away from danger, is clear, the crowd, especially the valet at the front, stands up and whoops and cheers. You hear whistles, you hear ululating, you hear it all, and the entire crowd just goes nuts, very pleased at the fact that, one, their hearth tender hasn't been horribly killed, but also at the daringness of your act.
So then what I will do is, since the heartender is staying near me, I am going to sort of just grow a very large rose throne for them to sit on. Something
Mm.
that's very soft, smells nice. Not the super scary wisteria trees that I had that ripped all of their subjects here.
Yeah. They take a graceful seat and give you a very deep bow, and they take their seat.
And
So
I'll just make a smaller one for myself to just sort of stay near them, obviously at a respectful distance and a much more reasonable size. You know, they get the big one because they're in charge of things, and big royalty thing, and mine is just like, this is comfy enough.
yeah, 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 fair. So, where do you place the chairs actually? Where do you do you keep them on the stage, or do you place them in like the grandstand area?
I'm gonna keep them on the stage. I want them to have the best seat for, because I had no idea that Hippolyta was contemplating not coming out here. I was busy terrorizing the town. Um,
Real? Real?
so, so I just assumed that she was coming up after me like she usually does. So I want her on the stage so that she could see fully, this is what we've been doing. This is why I threw her in a tree all those years ago, so she could be here doing this, and you can see it.
Real. Okay. So with that, I will ask, my dear Hippolyta, how do you, or do you rather, interact with the stage?
So I think as I make my way through the back of the big top, I'm looking for a mess. Um, and I'm looking for mess I want to find them before I do anything. Um, and
They are side of
where
stage. They're in the
where
wings.
I find Maz, and you see me still wrapped up in the cloak, and behind me you see a large chest, different from the one that y'all usually see in my carriage. This one is ornate. It's got beaten silver on the lid and the shape a figure of a person, and it's just floating behind me. And I say, "Thank you for telling me about myself, like you always do. Um, I need time. Can you can you go
Of course.
ahead of me?"
Yeah, of course.
And I like uh grab you up in uh, a tight hug really quickly. Um, and I let go and I turn and I start kind of guiding this chest away into the corner. And you see me kind of opening up and start like checking over things that are inside it.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Mazarine is super surprised by the hug. Um, takes it, leans into it, but is surprised that it happened in the first place, and then turns to prepare for their act.
Over there, like, why did you hug them? Why did you hug them? Y'all don't hug it anymore. Why did you do that? They probably think this so weird. But so I'm like spiraling about one thing, and then I'm also like, when you hug them, you know that they're gonna want to talk about the hug later. Like, see, just do this stuff. Uh,
So much anxiety everywhere right now.
So, Mazarine,
um,
how do you engage with the crowd here in the big top?
Um, Mazarine will enter in darkness, and as lights flash on, they are sitting on a trapeze with a cup of tea,
Ooh.
just swinging and sipping tea. And what I would like to do, I have a cup and everything. I'm sitting here like pretending, sit and
Beautiful.
sip tea. And the what they would like to do, what I'd like to do, I think, is to draw them out and then open up to them.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, we can do that. Um, so we're gonna draw them out first. Go ahead and roll your 2d6 for me.
Uh, Gosh, I've been playing so many different games. This is additive, right? You add the two together.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. That's a 6.
A 6. So you can choose
Oh,
one.
sorry. Hang on a second. Sorry.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
double
What
check. I
about your
don't have any
modifier? Sorry.
modifiers for that.
Mhm.
Um, draw them out. Oh, +1, 7.
Okay, cool. So 7, you get to ask one of those questions.
Okay. My question is going to be, where are you all open to me? Where are you vulnerable? Where are you guarded? Who's holding back something from me in this audience?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's sexy.
As fuck, right? Okay. So, who's holding back from you in this audience? You see a few people, actually. A few, like, sort of nameless members of the Autumn Court, people who reside in the Twilight Village but don't necessarily have titles or land to their name, anything like that. They're not like lords and ladies, they're just regular, fairies. Um, so a few of them are a little guarded and hesitant, trying to figure out what's happening next. There are, however, a handful of people holding back entirely. The most guarded person in the room is the hearth tender, because this is the person who, for all intents and purposes, runs the autumn court. And so they have a lot of reason to keep things close to their chest. But you sense, in asking this question and sipping this tea, you sense that it's not just regality that holds them back from fully enjoying the performance. There is vulnerability there as well. You do not know for what reason. You don't know where that's coming from. You do know, however, that there is a tender spot that being here is touching.
Okay. Okay. So
Oh yeah, you wanted
what
to
I was
open up to them too?
Mhm. I
Sorry,
would
go
like to
ahead.
open up to them, but that's in a moment.
Of course.
From there, I take the tea, throw it over the audience. The tea itself turns into glitter that lands on them harmlessly. The
Ooh,
cup itself becomes a hat that I place on my head,
cute.
and I begin a trapeze act that is intended to be sort of a tango. And I'm tangoing with luck.
Oh.
So in each of the as I swing from one trapeze to another, the trapeze swings toward me, and it looks like I'm going to fall because that's bad luck. That's just what happens. But then at the very last minute, I catch it with my little finger, um, flip round again, and stand on top of the trapeze. And now I would like to try to open up.
Yes, please do. Go ahead and roll those 2d6 for me and let me know your number.
Uh, I don't have an addition, but that is a 10.
A
Two
10.
fives.
Gorge. Okay, so you get
Yes.
to choose two of those four.
Okay. Um, I would like to confide in the audience, but especially the hearth tender.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is the first one.
Okay.
And the second one is to reveal to them what I'd like them to do.
Okay.
So the first thing that happens visually is I jump off of the trapeze, just step off.
Mm-hmm.
And as I fall, I turn into a raven, black raven. And I fly around the big top, round and around. And as I fly, I dip down in front of their sibling,
Mm-hmm.
turn into myself, and the intention behind my look is, are you ready to move forward?
Hmm. You see the hearth tender as you turn into a black raven. You see that something inside of them like seizes up a little bit in recognition, in memory, and they watch you in awe, sort of following you as you fly about. And then when you come to rest in front of them, standing as yourself, looking at them, asking silently if they are ready to move forward, they give you, how do I describe this? You know how, like, a baby, when they taste candy for the first time and now they want all of the candy, like, at any given moment? that is what you see. You see desire in the most innocent capacity, but also in the most desperate capacity. Like, yes, absolutely, resounding yes.
In that case, I'd like to do a third roll if that's possible, because I would do a huge sweeping bow. And as I do, I take my hat from my head. It fills with tea, the same tea that I had at the beginning, and I offer it to them. And I'd like to serve tea and honey cakes and eat some luck.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, yes, please do. Go ahead and roll those 2d6 for me.
And that's that is another 10. It's an 8 plus
Another
2.
10. Gee fucking willikers. Okay, so go ahead and serve your tea and honey cakes, and let's eat some luck, shall we?
I will offer them comfort, calm, and courage for what's coming ahead.
Okay.
And once I've done that, I sip my own tea and disappear.
Beautiful. Beautifully done. Okay, so you do this sweeping bow to the hearth tender, who gives you a deep nod in turn. They're sitting, so it's kind of hard for them to bow without going full flat. But they give you a deep nod in turn, and as you present them with this tea, they look at it in vague confusion, but then they smell the ginger and they smell the honey, and you can see that it's something that they long for. So they drink this tea, swallow it down. It's the perfect temperature, the perfect sweetness. And as you swallow your tea in turn and disappear in a flash, you feel like that capsaicin burn. Let me ask you, with this tea, did you make it from that same water that you got from the pool?
Yes.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you feel that capsaicin burn. You feel the overwhelming weight of a century of resentment and hurt and confusion and longing, endless longing. And as you swallow that down, that heavy capsaicin heat, it tickles the back of your throat for but a moment, and then it dissipates as though it was never there to begin with. And the weight of that longing, that everything, the weight of the hearth tender's pain, you wear it like a cloak for a moment, and then it falls off of you like spider silk. From there, I will ask actually, Hippolyta, do you want to be the last one to go? Like before the
I
ringmaster, do
think
you want to be the last one?
for me, I'm going, but I'm still very much like stalling. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah.
anyone I can talk to in passing, I'm like, go ahead, it's fine. I need more time to prepare, actually. No, it's totally fine. So I'm just kind of like, I see Annie and Whimsy, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. The twins, I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. I need more time actually to like get this ready to go.
Mhm.
Yes, please. Like I'm just taking basically any excuse that I have to kind of draw this out as like the fear is coalescing in my chest. Like I'm going to do this. I have to do this. But that part of me that has been in hiding for a century is not so easily relinquishing its hold on my will.
Yeah, understandable. So what you see after the impressive incredibly gorgeous display of serving tea and honey cakes, this trapeze act. You see Whimsy appears in a spotlight as the lights go down when Mazarine disappears in a flash, and you hear the crowd sort of give an uproarious cheer, excited, ready for the next act, and you see Whimsy appear in a top hat, and like he dances on the rim and like does like a little flute routine, and somehow a snake comes out of it and he's doing a snake charmer situation, and the snake hops back in and he pulls a rabbit out, and then he pulls out, all this just very goofy street magic type shit. And the kids are loving it. They're living their best lives when they see this itty bitty little mouse doing all kinds of little goofy tricks. Is this your card? Is this your card? That's your card, that kind of thing. And you see Annie Buckeyes come forward with a big, powerful griffin. And they go off on their routine. They start running through hoops and riding on top of balls, flying all around the big top. And this entire time, Annie is feeding little voles as a treat. And you see the griffin like nuzzling up against her, and then Butterbur and Bitterbalm, they come out and do their flying trapeze act. They're tiptoeing on tightropes. They're cartwheeling around each other and contorting in all these odd and interesting ways. And the crowd is so hype and so ready. And you see the Hearthtender looks so overwhelmingly overjoyed, as though this huge weight has been lifted off of their shoulders, especially after Mazarine's act. And now seeing all these different wonders and dazzling things has given them some semblance of peace for the moment. So I will ask, how do you engage with the stage, my dear?
Because we are still on it. We've been on it this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Morgana Dawn has never actually spent this much time on the stage during the whole rest of the circus. It's just like, I didn't know what it looked like from this angle. This is kind of cool. And at any point when necessary, just sort of like pulling the hearth, just pulling them in and out of any potential danger,
Yeah.
making it more a part of the show. At one point, when the twins get a little too excited, she just sort of like zips them around halfway across the big top and then back again. It's like, what are y'all doing?
Everybody thinks it's part of the show.
Oh yeah, it's all a part of the show, folks. So it's just like, huh, all right, taking longer than usual to get out here. Wasn't planning on spending this much time outside, but okay. You're like looking at my imaginary watch. Oh, where is this girl?
So I am standing in the wings, and I think when I see the twins, finally tumble off of stage at the end of their act, I kind of steel myself. I take a deep breath, and then I wave my hand, still, and I send the chest out in front of me, so everyone sees this uh large person-sized chest uh float into the spotlight. Um, and then it tilts upright, and they can see on the front a relief of a person in beaten silver, finely polished, like gleaming. And as they're kind of focused on this chest, I walk in behind it, basically hidden in the shadow behind the chest, still with my cloak and my hood on. And I knock on the back of the chest. So it kind of sounds like the knock is coming from inside. Um, and the chest opens to the audience. And inside, they see a fine suit of armor. Uh, it is gorgeous. Again, steel armor with engraving. It's got gold, filigree, and embossing. It is clearly a suit of armor made for a woman. And the suit of armor steps out of the chest. And where it steps out, it has no hands, has no feet, but it's got the gauntlets and it's got, I forget what the foot cover things are called.
Hmm.
And so it kind of steps out. And you can see that it has a deep forest green cloak that anyone who's seen my act before will recognize as matching the one that I wear uh, down the back. It turns to Anthony and it gives a deep bow in their direction. And then it reaches behind and closes the the case, and the case begins to ascend up. And as it does, I'm revealed standing behind there. I reach up, untie the cloak at my throat, and I throw it off. And it kind of floats and disappears before it even touches the ground. And everyone sees me standing there, not dressed the way that I am usually dressed as I prepare to do my sword swallowing routine. Instead, I am dressed in a silk blouse, corset, in that same deep forest green as the cloak, a pair of high waisted, uh, kind of pedal pusher uh, trousers with gold pinstripes in the same cream color that I usually wear, white stockings, and on my feet are deep forest green slippers, matches for the gold ones that I usually wear. And then over my shoulders, I am wearing something that I've never worn in the circus, something that I haven't worn for a century, a deep black coat with gold epaulets on the side, gold, the metal, engraved with what anyone who knows will recognize as the symbol of the autumn court, maple leaf that matches the umbrella that Anthony is carrying. The lining of the coat as it flares around me is gold inside, the same gold that matches the pinstripes on my pants. And strapped to my side is a sword and a sword belt, a long, slender fencing blade. I step forward, I bow to the audience, and then I turn. And as I turn towards Anthony, I can't make eye contact with them. So as I bow, I look down at their left foot, but I bow all the same. I'm shaking so bad right now. And then I turn to the suit of armor. I pull out I unsheath my blade, and I immediately take up kind of a dueling posture. Um, as this uh, suit of armor similarly adopts a fighting stance, similar fencing foil appears, materializes in their hand, and we engage in an intense duel. Um, in the midst of the spotlight where we kind of duel back and forth, and they force me back and then down to one knee, and I spring up and do a black flip, and then I charge at them, and and we kind of go back and forth in this way for a while. And as I go through this, it looks so dynamic. Everyone, you never know what's going to happen next, but the person in the crowd who there's someone in the crowd who's very familiar with this routine because it's a dueling dance that we've done many times, hundreds of times over the years. And they, like I do, would know every single move that is about to happen. Um, they also know how it ends. As I go to lunge for my final blow, and the suit of armor with a flourish disarms me. My fencing foil goes flying straight up in the air. And I look up, shocked. And as it goes, hilt over and starts to come back down, it bursts into flame. And I standing there with this look of shock on my face, mouth open, and just as it comes down, I just open my jaw just a little bit more, and it sheaths itself in my throat.
Heavens to
And I
Betsy.
would like to, in this moment, I would like to draw Anthony out.
Ooh, yes. Please do. Go ahead and roll those 2d6 for me, babes.
Be good, be good. Okay, that's a 5 plus 2 is a 7.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any modifier for that?
The plus 2. So it's 5. 5 on the 4 and a 1. 5
Oh, I
plus
see. Okay.
2
So 7. Okay,
is
got you,
this.
got you, got you. Okay. So you want to draw Anthony out, you get to ask one of those 6 questions.
So similar to my last performance, with the sword still sheathed, I bend forward at the waist into a deep bow in their direction, and I make eye contact with them, and I look at them for the first time in a century. And what I would like to convey in that expression, because my mouth is full, is I am trying to convey to them this question, like, what do you hope that I do in this moment? Like, what are you hoping I will do here? Because I can leave and pretend we don't know each other. But I want to know, right? I'm kind of giving them the raise. I'm putting the ball in their court in this moment to make myself beholden to them here
Mm.
after hiding for all this time.
So, what you see as you do this beautiful dueling dance with this gorgeous, regal suit of armor, and this sword goes up, hilt over point, and sheathes itself down your throat, and you do this sweeping bow, and you look at your sibling, and you find them staring at you, not drop jawed, not angry, not even afraid, simply in wonder. And you see them, as you bow, stand from where they were sitting on this throne of roses. And they drop to their knees and hold out their arms for you to embrace.
I think in this moment, I like vomit up this sword, basically. I'm like pulling it out so fast that I'm like,
Yeah.
definitely, like I vomit this sword out, and I am just like so overcome that like the sword hits the ground and then I hit the ground. Um, and I'm like shaking. I'm trembling and I'm looking at them, and it's like I can't move, like I'm frozen here. And then the suit of armor, it kind of walks over and it like nudges me uh, with one of its legs. It like nudges me a little bit in the side. And when it does that, I scramble to my feet and I bolt over to them. I just throw myself into their arms. and I hold on so tightly. Like I'm afraid that if I even let up for a second, they're gonna disappear in front of me.
You see Antony scrambles to their feet and they hold you just as tightly. And they're trembling and they're shaking. But they don't break, not yet. They have decorum to maintain. Yet they hold on to you tightly enough that it feels almost as though your heartbeats are beating as one. The way that it felt when you two were young and when you felt young and before all of this. As though the two of you are once again in sync, a pair matching, one finding its other. And from there, we will close chapter 3 of Chasing Caspian. I want to thank all of you for joining us today for chapter 3. I am going to go around and introduce my beautiful, beautiful cast once again. And we will see you again Saturday for chapter 4, I guess. We'll start in reverse order. Let's start with Shauntelle.
Hey, I am Shauntelle B, having an emotion. You you can find me pretty much everywhere at Shauntelle B, and I do all kinds of this stuff. So come find me. Uh, you will probably find me if you look. So yeah, had a good time having an emotion.
That's so real. All right, next on our list is Garnet.
Hey y'all, I'm Garnet. I was playing Morgana Dunn, who I am just having a grand time coming up with new ways to forcibly get people into this circus. It has truly just been a joy to look up different plans that I can be like, these are really pretty, and now they're going to scare you.
That's fabulous. Okay, next on our list is Emrys.
Hi, y'all. I'm Emrys. I'm also having a feeling right now.
Real.
I played the very scaredy cat, uh, marshmallow, Hippolyta, tonight, and had a blast. And you can find me again on Blue Sky, the Dragon Emrys, or you can find me on Tumblr if you like Call of Duty fanfiction, also at the Dragon Emrys.
Lovely. And last but not least, we have Coco.
Hey guys, it is Coco. I am playing the anxiety riddled Mwonaji, who is for some reason in charge of shit. I don't know. Lots of feels, both for Aji and Coco. It's been a great session. You can find me at Epiphany Dice. I am an artisan dice maker who also makes a whole bunch of the stuff, including shenanigans. So that's on TikTok. And yeah, I am very excited for this next chapter.
And I have been your Mistrex of Ceremonies. I am Alix. I use they, them pronouns. I am executive producer and GM over here at Batty Bards. And you can find us just bopping around these internet streets at Batty Bards. I guess if you want to follow me, my link is at Alix AMA, ALIX AMA underscore on the internet somewhere. Um, Anyhow, we will see you guys next Saturday for the finale of Chasing Caspian. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you soon.